Hello class, this is Module 2 Journal. I'm going to be answering a couple questions, so let's get started. Do you recognize the difference between an argument and a claim? What is it? Uh, an argument, according to Dr. Lane's definition, is a complete unit of thought containing three basic elements: data, the reasoning process, and the conclusion. To me, an argument is kind of like a set of statements chained together that you could show and prove a claim. Um, According to Dr. Lane's definition, it's what you're arguing about. A claim is like what you argue about. It can be called a conclusion. It can be a single statement for the advancement or the adherence of others. I think an argument is kind of a chain of claims made together with evidence, and the claim is kind of the statements that you are making to assert a truth, if that makes sense. Hopefully that's correct. What is the difference between the main claim and subclaims? Well, a main claim is kind of like your grand overarching claim that you're making. So I could say like my big claim is, say I'm writing in like an editorial or something. My big claim is like the dog is red, and everything after that is the subclaims is going to be to prove that the dog is red. So I could say the dogs are red because these statistics say that the dog's red because of the sun's you know the sun makes the dog red because it reflects off the dog, and so the dog is red, and so that's a subclaim. But my main claim is kind of the dog is red. That's my main claim. Subclaim is I'm making claims to support the main claim, using those three: fact, policy, and what was the third one? Fact, policy, value. Those are my subclaims that I use to prove my main claim. Can you identify the evidence in the editorial? Yeah, I definitely can after taking this week's class. I know for a fact that in my editorial, at least, there were two testimonial statements from Supreme Court justices that I'm definitely going to bring up in the assignment this week. Those are big ones for evidence for my main claim that is being made in my editorial. On top of that, though, in my analysis of the whole editorial as a whole, I have seen multiple pieces of evidence as far as claims of value, claims of fact. Some statistics are used in my editorial as well, so I can definitely identify the evidence. What are some of the challenges you think you might face while locating and evaluating the elements of an argument in your chosen editorial? I think some of the challenges are going to be deciding what subclaims are what. I think that can be really easily mixed up sometimes. I think I'm still kind of practicing that fact. I think the difference is like policy. Policy subclaims are really easy to spot, but I feel like fact and value claims are very difficult to differentiate between. Those two are definitely a lot harder to identify, and I don't want to mess that up. So I think that's a big challenge for me to overcome when evaluating the argument in my editorial. Do I know how to properly format and write a full sentence outline? I do. I think I a big part of speeches, because I've done speeches before, has been preparation. Being able to correctly evaluate the proper, formatting for a speech is crucial. So being able to write an outline, being able to know like my intro, my body, all my evidence for my body, and then having a good closing conclusion. Just like any essay that you write, those are a big part of speeches. Uh, so, I can do that. I've done it before, but if there's a specific way that we need to do it, I'm ready to learn that as well. Um, Now I'm going to go on to the questions about delivering my speech. How would you evaluate your speech anxiety? I would say it's moderate, but probably the day I give it, it'll be a little high. Just because, not because I'm scared I can't give the speech, more of just memorization is a very big deal for me. I study really hard to have to memorize things, and um, that's a big part of it. That's what's gonna be my anxiety is that I get up there, I I freeze up. I don't want to do that. When was the last time you were asked to deliver a presentation speech in class? Last time was probably last semester. We had a class presentation over, who was it? Over Rousseau, uh, the political thinker. We had to create a big presentation about his book that we were reading in the class at the time, and so that was probably about the last time I had to deliver a presentation or give a speech in class. But the last time like in college where I gave like a speech was like my freshman year, and that was for Doctor, what is his name? He's in the political science. Dr. Majors, Professor Majors. I took his Good Society class, and that was the last time I had to give a big speech in class. It was for the Revolution, the French Revolution. It was really cool. Um, have you received any feedback on your delivery technique skills during the past few months? Explain. I haven't recently, but I remember in high school when I used to give speeches, a lot of the biggest things I would get is that I paced a lot when I talk. You're supposed to, in FFA, when you give speeches, you're supposed to kind of walk back and forth, like you're having a engaging conversation with the audience. I would do it really fast. I pace when I memorize things. So I guess when I'm trying to, deliver those things, I pace really bad and I walk back and forth. Another thing is when I mess something up, I focus too hard on my mess up instead of just being able to like get it together and go through. I freeze really easily. Um, but have I had any feedback in the past couple of months? Not recently. No. I would love some feedback though. That would help me really perfect this upcoming speech. In my opinion, what makes a speaker persuasive? I think charisma. I think it's just kind of like a natural charisma. A clear speaker who can get their arguments very off, like very clearly and easily, is definitely a big, I think that's what makes a speaker so persuasive, so argumentative. To be able to have your audience lean into what you're saying, you have to keep their attention occupied, if you can't have an attentive audience, if they're just like, they're dying, they're bored, then, you know, no one's going to listen to you. Dr. Lane does a really good job at keeping my attention. I would argue that he's a very persuasive speaker because in most of my classes I get bored, and there are periods where it's like I don't really listen. Um, but a good persuasive speaker can keep their audience attention. So hopefully I answered all those questions. I made about an 8-minute video instead of a 2-minute, but hopefully it's good enough. Thank you.